Flattered, disappointed, I really don't know what I'm supposed to feel. I'm not a stranger to having strategies go uncredited on YouTube. After all, there is no proving who found what or watched who, plausible deniability and all that. However, there are times where it is blatantly clear that that is going on. It's usually just by much younger or smaller channels that should know better, but the impact of the action is in the realm of no harm, no foul, so you let it go. This was sort of the case back in May 2023. Golf with Your Friends released a 9-hole course, Corrupted Forest. I did my guide the day it came out. The next day, a guide was released that did every single one of my shots in a row without differentiating. The fact that literally every shot was the same actually had me slightly less sure that it was a ripoff. That's too brazen to not change anything. A lot of the holes on the course are straightforward, and it's the only 9-hole course. Both of these greatly enhance the chance of coming up with the same shot, but the devil is in the details. The arbitrary natures of holes 1 and 4 specifically, just almost no way is that coincidence. Those holes had specific hole-in-one chances that I showed, but because achievement seekers have been on me about only showing tough shots since the game released on consoles in 2020, I have begun to add simpler, safer methods to stay below par if a hole-in-one goes beyond a certain difficulty threshold. Holes 1 and 4 made sense to adapt, so I arbitrarily drew up some shots with somewhat easy to reference points of aim and power. These were exactly the same in this other guide. At the time, I privately compared it to being handed a blank sheet of paper, being told to draw a shape, and both drawing a duck on a bicycle. Plausible deniability had run out. The person had straight yoinked my guide and was profiting off of it. Just not cool. But I don't like the drama. Instead, I turned to a prominent Golf with Your Friends community member to ask if they had interacted with the alleged culprit, as the community member tends to interact with almost everyone that sticks around in our little community. He had not, but I further discussed the matter with him, seeking a bit of guidance, a bit of a temperature check. Was I off base, seeing something that wasn't actually there? And the conclusion was that it certainly did not look good, and it was suggested that I attempt to reach out privately, while instead I ended up just dropping it. Shouldn't have, but I just didn't want to go through it. See, a couple years ago, I was accused of cheating, and they were wrong. I had the receipts. I then took every record on speedrun.com and still hold them. So if there was a chance that it was a coincidence, I wasn't going to pull the trigger on it. And thus, I walked away, feeling like, well, I guess you got me. Fast forward to September 2023, the new course releases, Peaceful Pines. I get my guide out super quickly. Next day, what do you know? Guide comes out from the same channel, and it is basically every shot in a row. Again, the course is simple, but 27 holes straight? Sample size is getting kind of big. I won't lie, I thought about putting a tongue-in-cheek line at the end of my guide about seeing you again tomorrow, but reminded myself, what are you doing, dude? And didn't do it. However, now, that seems like it would have been a pretty appropriate gesture. But I did leave a little something in there, something that wouldn't hurt the viewer, someone just trying to get the holes in one. Hole 3, we both go off to the right at the exact same power. This would work on the left, so it's kind of weird that we both did the exact same thing to the right. How about straightforward, like literally almost everybody would try? Like, huh? With all the prior context, I guess I'm calling that strike 1. Hole 8, I use my exact shot and call it pixel perfect because it comes out of the bowl. Brother, take a little bit off and it'll stay in. Like, what? It's so easy to explain how to modify it if you came up with it. Clearly a strike 2. I will remind you, these are the ones that are much harder to explain away, but every shot is the same. The same. Watch them side by side. Hole 10's point of aim, 13's point of aim, 14, 15, 16, the same. When they don't have to be. My perfect round, which was also posted before the other guide, used alternate shots on 4 of those 5 holes, and those aren't the only options either. Give me an hour and I can guarantee I can ace all of them, different to both videos. It cannot be denied. That's strike 3. I'm being ripped off by a contributor to one of the biggest gaming companies, and I'm not going to stay silent about it. The easy to jump to next step is to check and see what other games they've covered and might have similar stories, but I'm not an investigative journalist. I have no proof of said activities. And turning it back to my involvement in this, I'm aware that I cannot own strategies in a video game that I did not develop, so I'm not saying take them down, but give me some damn credit. That's basic journalism.